What is good, y'all? Welcome to the Mission Ready Men briefing here on the SHR Media Network, where we train up warriors, not weaklings. Today is Thursday, September 4th. It's already September in the year of our Lord 2025. And this is where people come to get equipped to stand firm, speak truth, and fight back against a culture that is trying to steal your faith, your family, and your freedom. And because the battle that we're in is not just political, it's spiritual. And this fight never, ever takes a day off. We're done pulling punches. We're done pulling punches. The gloves are off, and we're getting after it. So follow us on all the socials at Mission Ready Men, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social, TikTok. And be sure to subscribe to our Rumble and YouTube channels. And if you want to wear the fight, grab your gear at missionreadymen.com and click Shop 7 Armors and check out all the great designs that we have over there. All right, y'all. Now that business is out of the way, it's go time. And I want to start off talking about one of the biggest stories that's been in the news for the past couple of days, and that's the Epstein's victims. They are speaking out, and it is gut-wrenching because there have been a few that have been out there who we know about, but they're the ones that we have been seeing over the past couple of days. We haven't seen before, we didn't know about. And so it's been tough to watch, but it's been long overdue, really. But instead of the support that they deserve, we have some of these politicians. Some of them, I believe, are actually acting in good faith and really want to see justice done. But I think others are just circling like vultures, trying to use this as a political, use them as political pawns. Nothing says justice like a bunch of hack politicians standing behind like extras on a movie set. That to me is not justice. These the testimonies that we heard, the stories that we heard, the people that we saw on camera, it was powerful to watch. And I think seeing what's been happening in the political realm with regard to Epstein and the files and the client list and all that, I think they finally just had enough. I think they finally have just had enough. And there was one clip that that made the rounds, and that I think got a few people nervous. And that is the one, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I want to say her name is Lisa, but I'm not entirely sure. But let's just take a look at this, and then we'll talk about it, because like I said, a lot of these, a lot of the people who have issues with this, I think are going to be nervous. Here we go.
And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
Yeah, they are vowing to compile their own list. I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. Not because we don't want to see the names. We don't want to know the names of the people who were involved. That's not it at all. But we know that there are powerful people involved. And we know that those powerful people have resources to eliminate problems. And so it's very brave of them to do this. It's very brave of them. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do it by any stretch of the imagination, not at all. But it's a risk. It's a risk. And I understand why it's a risk they're willing to take. But I hope that they have are taking measures to protect themselves, both physically as well as emotionally and stuff like that. The files that have been released have been they made a big show, and this is one of the reasons why I say that they're using them as political pawns, because some of the most of the files that have been released were already out in the public domain. Wasn't anything new. So that to me is just political gamesmanship. And of course, the Democrats are out there saying we need more. And not just the Democrats, really. A lot of people on the left and the right are clamoring for more. And I get it. I get it. It's a complicated issue from the political side of things. It's really not complicated. We want justice and we want to see all the people's names. That is not in question. But politically, it's a hot potato, and these people, especially the ones who are genuinely doing this out of good faith efforts, are going to have to navigate this very carefully. So on the one side, you have those people who really want to see justice done, and on the other hand, you have people saying that this is a hoax. And for all of the things that I think President Trump is doing right, and I'm not suggesting that he doesn't want to see justice done, but for all of the things that he is doing right, coming at this from the standpoint of saying that it's a hoax is a bad move. It's a bad move. And I've been accused of being a Trump sycophant and never criticizing him and believing everything he does is right. Well, those people don't know me very well, because I had a lot of problems with him in his first term in terms of the things he did with the Second Amendment and spending and other things like that, which is a discussion for another time. But this is a bad look, because, and I get what he's saying. I get what he's trying to get across, but that's not the right word. And there are real victims. There is real trauma involved, and to use that word when that is at the core of the issue is a mistake. Because again, he's trying to he's trying to convey that the Democrats are trying to use this as a political cudgel against him, and I think he's also plugged into the base who, for the most part, don't see this as the primary issue, the most important issue that we're facing as a country. And so I think he could have said that um, a little better. And I think he's just using hoax as shorthand for that because it's worked so well for him in the past. But I want to play the reaction of one of the victims who um, took issue with this.
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot. And it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not, please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us.
Devastating.
She she has a point. She has a point, and that point is going to play well on the other side of the aisle, and it could damage him somewhat politically because he's using that word. And then it plays into the conspiracy theories that we're seeing with Thomas Massey claiming that there's a cover up by intel agencies and things like that. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to believe because so much has been put out there. I doubt very seriously that President Trump has anything to do with any cover-ups or intel agencies, and I also don't really believe that Epstein was some sort of operative or asset of any of these intel agencies. I know that there's links between Ghislaine Maxwell and her father and some intel agencies and things like that. Uh, maybe, maybe, but at the end of the day, he was a scumbag pedophile who had his hooks into some people, and I think they're the ones that don't want to see a lot of this information come out. I doubt very seriously that any of our intel agencies are involved. I don't think that there is a compelling. I don't think that there's a compelling argument for um, national security when it comes to uh, Jeffrey Epstein. I really don't. The survivors of this want closure. They want justice. They want um, they want the truth out there, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. BZ is in the chat. Thanks for being here, BZ. It was already said that Trump is in none of the documents or involved in any way by the victims themselves. Yes, and I am just getting to that. I am just getting to that because, as I said, they want truth, they want healing, and they were asked point blank the other day if Trump was involved, and let's take a listen to what they had to say, because I really don't think that the I don't think that the people who put together this segment and asked the question wanted to hear what they had to say.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No. No.
Or former President Clinton?
No.
I do have.
They did not want to hear that. They really wanted somebody to say, they wanted somebody to pipe up and say, yeah, I saw him at such and such, and I know that he did such and such. They really wanted that, and they didn't get it. Again. But what kind of shocked me was that she followed it up with mentioning Clinton. And again, they said no. I wasn't expecting her to bring him up, and I really wasn't expecting him to say no. So there's that. I was shocked. I really was. I was really shocked that they did not implicate Clinton in any way, because he's a known pervert. He is a known scumbag with the same proclivities that Jeffrey Epstein had. So that was kind of shocking. So I just want to end with this, because those survivors, those victims, are showing tremendous courage, and the politicians are not all of them. Like BZ said in the chat, Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing good work. I believe so. I'm not so sure about Massey and some of the other ones, but we'll see how everything plays out. But they're playing their typical political gamesmanship, cynical political games, and it's tough seeing them somewhat manipulated in this way. And then, of course, you have the American Pravda fishing for juicy headlines to advance the narrative that they want, and try as they might, they're not getting it. And good. And let's be clear. Let me just be clear. If there was any indication that President Trump was involved in any of Epstein's nefarious crimes, or any conservative, any politician, left or right, they all deserve to go down for it. Regardless of how good the economy is, regardless of anything, you get involved in something like that and you deserve to be put under the jail. But the real hoax is not what is going on with these victims. It's not what happened with Epstein. The real hoax is that the swamp is pretending to care about justice and using the survivors as political pawns. That's the hoax. And I wish President Trump would come at it from that angle. But here we are, and we'll see how it all shakes out. All right, I want to pivot to something a little more a happier story, as BZ would say. the U.S. Navy, has dropped the hammer and some bombs on a Venezuelan drug boat. 11 narco terrorists have been eliminated, and Maduro is screaming murder, but at the same time saying that he's not involved in any narcotics trafficking. So both things can't be true. He can't be completely distanced from any of the drug trafficking, while at the same time claiming that what President Trump did was immoral or some sort of act of war. But as it turns out, speedboats full of narcotics are not bomb-proof. Who knew? And of course, the left is all up in arms, saying that it's murder and they didn't get due process and all this other nonsense. That I don't care. But let's take a look at this and see if you agree with me, because I think this is awesome. There's the boat, there's the terrorists. Boom. Bottom of the ocean. This is what I voted for. This is absolutely what I voted for. And I'm fairly certain if you're listening to this, it's what you voted for. And if you didn't vote for it and you're listening, well, chime into the chat and let me know. I would love to, I'd love to hear from you and see what you have to say and how you support your position. I'd love it. But that strike took place in the Southern Caribbean, and the boat was a Trinidad boat, Venezuela's favorite export besides socialism and hyperinflation. But all 11 of those narco terrorists are dead, and there were 0 U.S. casualties. And leftists, oh, BZ, can you say Davy Jones Locker? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. The left who's yammering about due process and this is murder and they should have waited till they got into U.S. waters and then just interdicted and boarded the boat and seized the drugs and arrested the terrorists. No. Doing that puts the troops, puts the sailors at risk, because everyone on that boat was armed for that very reason. That would have put those sailors' lives in danger, and who knows what could have happened. So I think this was the right call, and it sends a message. Trump's reasoning is that it sends a message, and it does send a message to future traffickers, the ones that are going to take these guys' place. Don't do it. Not like President Biden back in the day saying don't and just leaving it at that. No, this was a clear message. Do not do this or you will pay. There's some teeth in President Trump's message of don't. And good. This is his job, to keep Americans safe. He ran on the promise of getting rid of these drug trafficker, narco terrorists. I voted for this. I voted for this. Drug smugglers are not immune to consequences just because they fly a Venezuelan flag on their vessels. They're not. And they paid. And that's going to make others think twice. Maybe not right away. There'll probably be a few more before they finally say, hey, we're going to have to figure something else out. And of course, Maduro, he called it immoral, says that Venezuela is there'll be armed resistance if we invade or otherwise attack Venezuela. Well, okay. I don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, I don't think we're going to invade Venezuela. But if they escalate on the water and they have ships and other things that they use to try and stop our military from intervening in their operations, well, they're going to lose. But at the same time, that'll just have more of those terrorists in one spot for us to eliminate. And I'm okay with it. This is a war. If it comes down to a kinetic war like that, it's a war I'm all for. I am all for it. Forget sending troops overseas to the Middle East or Ukraine or wherever else. This directly impacts United States citizens, and it is a war that if it has to be fought, I am all for it. All for it. And some Venezuelan officials are saying that the video's AI generated. I don't think so. I think it's pretty obvious that this happened. But then again, when you hallucinate about socialism working, well, then why not accuse the United States of using deep fakes? Because you'll obviously believe anything. Brazil, Colombia, they're criticizing us for flexing our muscle. But Guyana and Trinidad and some others, they're glad because they're seeing the effects of these terrorists on their shores as well. And they don't have the muscle to flex. And so they're happy. Apparently, neighbors don't want cocaine superhighways running across their beaches. Go figure. We have the United States deploying warships, nuclear subs, and this is a serious escalation in counter narcotics. And again, this is what I voted for. The days of fighting drug lords being with a DEA sting in Miami, those days are over. Those days are over. Now it's Navy destroyers and cruise missiles. War on Drugs 2.0, and I am here for it. And if it's an actual war, so be it. 11 narco terrorists will not be spreading their poison. And all I have to say to that is America is back. If there was ever any doubt, America is back. And we're done playing footsie with these narco terrorists. So buckle up, buttercups, because if your hauling cocaine across the Caribbean, your next stop is not going to be Miami. It's going to be Davy Jones's locker. And good. I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for it. And you should be too. You absolutely should be too. Because the poison that these people have been spreading throughout this country is killing our citizens. And it's the president's job to protect us from that. All right, let's get a word in from our sponsor, and our sponsor for today's show is Carry Girl Gear. So, fellas, if you're looking for a great gift for your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter, check out carrygirl.com. They have some of the best looking, highest quality shirts out there, bold designs, great fabric, and things that she will actually want to wear. And it's not just the shirts, as I've said, it's drinkware, hats, a whole host of accessories that she'll absolutely love. And if picking out the picking out the perfect design or whatever else is not your strong suit, just go ahead and grab yourself a gift card and let her pick it out herself. It's quick, it's easy. She'll get exactly what she wants and you will look like a hero. So head over to carrygirl.com today, show some love and make it count. Visit carrygirl.com today. All right, y'all. I am Big E, and you are watching or listening to the Mission Ready Men briefing on the SHR Media Network. And there you can watch Sackhead Sean with The Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe every Monday and Friday. He's been on a little bit of a break, but I am told that he is coming back soon. Every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. And BZ, who is lighting up the chat with us today, thanks for being here, BZ. He has the Berserk Bobcat Saloon, and he is on every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. He will be on tonight, so please be sure to check him out. And be sure to like and subscribe to all of the great shows on the channel. We're up to 609 subscribers. We're looking to smash through 700 soon. We were hovering, I don't know, somewhere around 200, 250, something like that for a long time. And now all of a sudden we're up over 600. So thank you all for subscribing and sharing. And now it's time for us to smash through 700. So please like and subscribe, share these great shows with everyone that you know, because we're looking for a huge breakthrough. We still have a few months to go this year, and this year has been great in terms of our growth. Don't get me wrong. Thank you all for that. That's been fantastic. But we want more. We want to reach more people. So please be sure to subscribe and share, so we can reach as many people as we possibly can, and pray for us that we can reach that goal. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. The Hollywood elites, so-called elites, they're not elite to me, but these people, they whine about how oppressive America is as they make millions of dollars playing pretend on camera. And these people are beating feet to Europe. Robin Wright, Ellen DeGeneres, and Portia de Rossi, Rosie O'Donnell, Courtney Love, they all swear that they found freedom over in the UK. But yeah, nothing says freedom like a country where cops can haul you off for flying your own flag or posting a slightly offensive meme on social media. Robin Wright, perhaps best known for playing Jenny on Forrest Gump, one of the absolute worst characters in cinematic history, and it's really not even close. She knowingly tried to give Forrest HIV, and then held his son back from him. And I could go on, but I'll just leave that there. That's a discussion for another time. But she has moved over to England, claiming that America is chaotic and England is peaceful, living a luxury countryside fantasy over there, because she's living in a community that's got gates and guards and probably more zeros in her bank account than there are people in her village. But who knows? But average British citizens can't wave the Union Jack or the flag of England without being treated like an extremist or a terrorist. It's ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. And I don't think these people like Jenny or Ellen and Portia or Rosie, I don't think they have any concept of what it's really like, because they live in such an insulated, luxurious bubble. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi, they live in the Cotswolds. Robin Wright lives in some other really upscale, posh neighborhood right next to the Cotswolds. Rosie O'Donnell's in Ireland, says it's wonderful there. Courtney Love, who says that Trump is frightening, is living in London. These people think that they're political refugees or some such nonsense, but they're just ungrateful tourists with an attitude problem. It's insane. In the UK, the Union Jack and the St. George's Cross, the flag of England, they're treated as hate symbols. They're treated as hate symbols. And if you fly them at the wrong time in the wrong place, you could be locked up. And but yet they claim to have free speech. There's one video that went viral that we're gonna play here in a second of someone protesting. I'm not exactly sure what the protest was about, but she was flying the Union Jack and got locked up. So let's check this out.
Like, it looks like the police are trying to cause a scene. Look at that! Look what they're doing! Look what the police are doing! What are they doing? What are the police doing here? What are they doing? Just for the bottom of the flags. Have a look at this.
Now, of course, the authorities are saying that she wasn't arrested for uh, for the flying the flag. She was arrested for public disturbance or some such nonsense, violating the public order, which basically is just code for your patriotism offends us. Your patriotism offends our Muslim overlords, because that's what this is about. So many Muslims over there in positions of power that even if they weren't in the position to give the order to lock this person up, the people who did it to appease the Muslims and to avoid being called a racist. You know it, and I know it. That's what this is about. Now imagine if American cops arrested somebody for flying a BLM flag or a pride flag. These people who fled the United States over there, they would be apoplectic, talking about how this is a violation of free speech. But they're not saying anything over there. And I get they're not citizens yet, although I think some of them actually might either be in the process of becoming citizens or whatever. I'm not entirely sure, but they could still say something. But they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. Fly one of those, fly the Union Jack and get arrested for it, and crickets. And then these Hollywood elitists are over there talking about how great it is. Meanwhile, you got grooming gangs that have been ignored for decades over there. Rotherham, Rochdale, Telford. Ignoring this scourge because they don't want to be labeled as racists. And I played the video either last week or the week before. I think it was last week when we had the issue with the Scottish girl who was trying to protect herself against a pedo, suspected pedo. And not too long prior to that, there was a 13-year-old girl who was arrested after being caught in the company of 7 Pakistani men, drunk. She was arrested for being drunk in public. But they're not saying anything about that kind of stuff. Knife crime, migrant riots, illegal immigrant riots. That's normal now over there. But hey, Robin Wright feels peaceful, so clearly everything is just fine. We're talking about the First Amendment. Over in England, the police have dedicated units trolling social media for offensive posts. And they are arresting, making 30 arrests a day for offensive online messages. They're logged as non-crime hate incidents. These tweets aren't illegal, they're just offensive or something. It is madness. And the number of arrests made under Section 127 of the Communications Act of 2003 and Section 1 of the Malicious Communications Act of 1988, police forces in England and Wales have arrested over 12,000 people. And it's gone up since 2017, 5,000, 6,000, 11,000, 12,000. But everything's fine over there as far as these people are concerned. So free speech exists, I guess, over there as long as it's approved by the government. These Hollywood weirdos traded our First Amendment for Britain's Ministry of Hurt Feelings. Absolutely brilliant. They're living their fantasy over there in these plush cottages, green countrysides, peace, civility, endless cappuccinos. But the citizens over there, the actual citizens, their flags are treated as contraband. If they speak up against the illegal immigration over there, the invasion of Muslims, they're silenced, arrested for hate crimes. And the police are trolling social media instead of out on the street catching criminals. So it's not about, for them, for those people, freedom means not hearing opinions that they don't like. That's it. Everyone else is basically living under house arrest. They can't venture out for fear of being stabbed or worse at the hands of one of these Muslim migrants. And they can't really do anything online because they'll be labeled hateful bigots and they'll have the police come knocking on their door. Ellen DeGeneres, Rosie, Courtney Love, they didn't escape. They didn't escape oppression. They're not the least bit oppressed. They were not the least bit oppressed in this country. They escaped accountability. Real liberty is not hiding in the Chilterns or the Cotswolds in some palatial home. It's the ability to proudly wave your flag, call out crime, and speak your mind without Big Brother breathing down your neck. Robin Wright called America a shit show. Excuse my language, but I'm quoting her. And they move to countries where freedom is a costume. It doesn't really exist. They didn't run to liberty. They ran from reality, which is kind of a theme with these people these days. Let me see if we can catch up on some of these chats. B says, without Trump, make no mistake, all this would be happening here. Yes. Yes. And Sean said last night on his show, and he's right, that what happens over there, usually we follow suit in about 5 or 10 years. And if we're unfortunate enough to have a leftist take over in the next 4 or 8 years, rest assured that what we're seeing over there will happen here. If they're not, BZ says, if they're not crimes, how can people get arrested, cuffed, and transported away from their point of contact? Well, yeah, how can they? But they do, because they're not really free. BZ also says, Rosie O'Donnell physically moved to Ireland and still cannot keep from posting on social media about President Trump. Yeah. That's a very expensive means to support Trump. Living in living in one's head. Yeah, he has taken up residence in her head for a long, long time. A long time. Yes, the 2026 midterms are absolutely critical. And I'm somewhat optimistic that we'll be able to deal with, be successful in the midterms, because the left has gone so absolutely insane, just utterly insane, that it's Republicans race to lose. And don't get me wrong, they have made a living of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I am well aware of that. But the left is so ridiculous right now. I think they're going to have to do a lot of work to lose to lose these midterms. Again, not outside the realm of possibility by any stretch of the imagination. I understand. All right. There is some good news. Florida is Florida's doing some great work. Florida is working on getting rid of all vaccine mandates, not just the remnants of the COVID nonsense, but all vaccine mandates. That means all the mandates of getting your kids vaccinated before they go to school, all of that. They're working on getting all of that squashed. And of course, MSDNC and the Communist News Network, they are all hyperventilating into their N95s because this is going to be a public health disaster or something. But they're going to be the first in the nation to roll back vaccine mandates. And I think that is an absolute brilliant move. And I want to play you this clip real quick, because I think this guy is, I think he's destined for some great things. Check this out.
In partnership with the governors, is going to be working to end all vaccine mandates in Florida law. All of them. All of them. All of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Okay? Who am I as a government or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body? Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body? I don't have that right. Your body is a gift from God. What you put into your body is because of your relationship with your body and your God.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I don't have that right. Government does not have that right. They want you to believe they have that right. And unfortunately, they've been successful. They've been successful.
They have been successful, and they've been successful because for some reason, well, no, we know what the reason is. The reason is that people have been brainwashed. People have been indoctrinated to believe that the government is the be all, end all, knows all, and it is your job to bow to the government when they tell you to do something. When they tell you to jump, you're supposed to say how high. And that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And Florida is acting to change that. Now there are some things that he's going to be able to do administratively to get rid of some mandates, hepatitis B, chicken pox. I can't believe there was even a vaccine for chicken pox. I mean, come on. Chicken pox. Back in the day, people used to, somebody would get chicken pox. They would get all the kids together. All of them would get chicken pox, and then it would be done. No need for a vaccine. But shots like measles, tetanus, polio, that's going to require legislative repeal. And I think that can happen. Now, going back to polio, in the 1950s, when kids were getting the polio shot, they didn't need the government to compel them to do it. Parents saw that polio was killing their children. There was a vaccine available to stop that from happening. And so they did. They got their kids in to get that shot. Now, by the 60s and 70s, of course, that became a mandate, unfortunately. But that was only after parents were begging for that vaccine. And my dog is going nuts. I don't know if you can hear him. He's distracting me a little bit, but we're going to keep going. But back then, the parents of these kids weren't fighting the government. They were fighting against this disease that was killing their children. And of course, you have the two camps, supporters of this, like me. It's about liberty. It's about parental rights. It's about divine stewardship of this temple that God has given us, called our bodies. And the left, of course, they're doom and gloom, where the dark ages are coming back, where there's going to be all kinds of disease outbreaks that have been eradicated. The plague is going to come back. The Black Death, just the fear mongering on the left is just ridiculous, and they're going to keep coming after it. I guarantee you that this is going to end up in court, if not the Supreme Court. I guarantee it, because people are going to sue to stop this from happening. People are going to sue to keep injecting your children with this stuff that they don't need against your will. And the thing is, he's not saying that they're getting rid of these vaccines. He's not saying that. But that's what they're acting like. He's saying that it's going to be your choice whether or not you want to get injected with this stuff, whether or not you want to inject your kids with this stuff. The fact that they do not want you to have the choice should tell you everything you need to know. And if you haven't been indoctrinated by their propaganda, then you would know that it should be your choice. But so many people have been indoctrinated that I ran into this a lot during COVID. They really believe that the government knows best. They really believe that if you resist, you're a bad person. They really believe that if you don't comply, then you should be ostracized from polite society. There are people who really believe that. BC, you can look like a pincushion if you wish, but you will not be forced to. You will not be forced to take the vaccines. Exactly. If you want to do it, they will be available for you. But if you don't, we're not going to force you, which is how it should be, and which is how a sane society would behave. But we passed sane. Sane is in our rearview mirror for a long, long time. But Florida is the tip of the spear right now, testing whether or not medical freedom will beat fear mongering. And as I said, it will be tested in court. It will be tested in court. But I do hope that other states follow Florida's lead. I hope Texas does. I hope Arkansas does. I hope Oklahoma does. Because there needs to be a clear, and there already is a clear delineation, but there needs to be a one drawn when it comes to this medical freedom. Because if they have their way, then you will be required to take every single poisonous vaccine that they develop. You will be the test subjects, just like with the COVID jabs. You will be the test cases. You will be the clinical trials. So this is outstanding on Florida's part. And Ladapo is not just, he's a Surgeon General in Florida, Joseph Ladapo. It's not just with vaccines. He's also leading the charge against fluoride in waters, in the water supplies. Critics are calling him reckless. Science has other ideas. Actual science, not the science that the experts are paid to put out there so that these pharmaceutical companies can make money. Not that science. Actual science. Dental fluorosis as a result of fluoride in water is real. Skeletal fluorosis is real. And there are studies that show that kids are taking a hit in their IQs with exposure to this fluoride when it climbs above 1.5 micrograms per liter. The guy who the media brands reckless and a witch doctor is actually reading and citing medical journals while the experts are too busy giving your kindergartners a fluoride rinse. Maybe, just maybe, the conspiracy theorists are actually reading the fine print while the credentialed class, the so-called experts, are drinking the Kool-Aid with a fluoride chaser. All right. There's a few more things I want to get to, and this one, this one is this one made my day when I read this, and not just because this guy is a terrible human being, but it gave me the opportunity to compile some interesting some interesting clips that I'm sure you'll enjoy, and you've probably seen some of them already, but And some of them are not really funny, but one of them is hilarious. And so we'll get to that. And of course, I'm talking about Jerry Nadler. Jerry Nadler has announced that he will not seek re-election in 2026. Oh, this guy has been in Congress, and it's not just him, but this guy's been in Congress since before Wi-Fi was invented. And he's finally pulling the plug. There are some contenders lining up, but it doesn't really matter. He's in a safe blue seat. Another leftist is gonna take his place, but I couldn't be happier to see him go. He was elected in 1992, and Congress was not meant to be a retirement home. It's just time for him to go. He was the chair of the Judiciary Committee when he tried to play prosecutor during Trump's impeachment, and he just came off like a bumbling idiot. The substitute teacher nobody listens to. He was terrible. He's been terrible. His entire career has been terrible. Terrible. He's been in office for decades. Manhattan is still crime-ridden, still homelessness. The subway system could be mistaken for a post-apocalyptic movie set. I mean, his district, and you could say the same thing about most of the districts run by these leftists. I mean, all of the districts run by leftists, honestly. He was a champion of every leftist cause you can imagine. Abortion on demand, gun control, Trump impeachment. You name it, if it was a leftist, extreme leftist position, he was there. I see my good friend SP Lewis. Sackhead Sean is in the chat. Thanks for being here, buddy. Old Humpty Dumpty himself. Yeah, I call him Penguin. But yeah. But anyway, he has a very interesting highlight reel. He can be seen dozing off during testimony. He can be seen calling the 2020 Antifa riots, the Summer of Love, called it a myth, while cities were literally on fire during those mostly peaceful protests. Oh my goodness. Just that whole episode is just crazy. And in March of 2021, he said something that blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. And it had to do with abortion. And I'm going to play you this clip. He's responding to, the first person you're going to see is Greg Stubbe. And Nadler is going to respond to his speech. And it was a long speech. I cut it down. So it's just going to be 30 seconds, but check this out.
Whenever a nation's laws no longer reflect the standards of God, that nation is in rebellion against him and will inevitably bear the consequences. And I think we are seeing the consequences of rejecting God here in our country today.
Yes, we are.
And this bill speaks directly against what is laid out in Scripture. Our government, through this bill, is going to redefine what a woman is and what a man is.
Mr. Stubbe, what any religious tradition ascribes as God's will is no concern of this Congress.
Whenever a nation's laws no longer reflect.
Wow. When I first heard that, and that was before I became a Christian. And when I heard that, I was dumbfounded, flabbergasted, gobsmacked. Just God is all over our founding documents. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain inalienable rights. And he has the nerve to say that God's will is of no concern to this Congress. Really? Wow. He really just made Congress God. That's what he did. And there was another one that blew my mind. And this one is another one that's just, there are no words. There are, just listen to this.
The problem with this bill is not that it makes anything, that it is not that it provides any new protections for infants. The problem with this bill is that it endangers some infants by stating that that infant must immediately be brought to the hospital, where, depending on the circumstances, that may be the right thing to do for the health.
Under what circumstances is taking an infant to the hospital the wrong thing to do? I don't know if anyone asked him that question when it happened, but under what circumstances is it the wrong thing to do? I don't get it. I really don't. But there's more.
And survival of that infant, or it may not. That is the problem with this bill. It directs and mandates a certain medical care which may not be appropriate, which may be endanger the life of an infant in certain circumstances. That's why we oppose this bill. Not the problem with this.
This was, he was arguing against a bill that that made it necessary for doctors to take infants who survived abortion attempts to the hospital. I don't. How do you respond to that? How do you respond to that? Now, even if you aren't Christian, Sean says, in a definitive term, the suggestion that our rights are not natural is their opening to say government can take rights away. Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what they want. And I have something for you on that too. We'll get to that here in a second if I have the time. But yeah, Jerry Nadler's got to go. He's got to go. And he's saying that it's because there needs to be generational change and the left, the Democrat Party needs new blood. But the fact is, he's 78 years old and he's obviously exhausted. He's obviously not up for the job. And in case you need some proof of that, let's take a look at this one last clip that we have before we move on. And this one, you may have seen it, you may not have seen it. This one is absolutely hilarious.
After I bring on Congresswoman Maloney, I want want to join the distinguished chairman in acknowledging legislation of other members of Congress that are contained in the chairman's legislation that they are putting forth, and chairwoman's. And I also want to acknowledge Maxine Waters is doing some very important work on this subject, not part of this package,
Now,
but part of preserving our democracy. With that, I'm pleased to yield to the distinguished chairwoman of the.
now, on one hand, that was sad. On one hand, that was sad, but on the other hand, that is I mean, he's not that much older than the average age of Congress, and he's got to go. Obviously, he had to go then. And yes, BZ, that was real. That was real. The music sound effects were added, but yes, that was real. And I remember when it happened. And yeah, that was real. So after 30 years, he is finally going to resign. Well, not resign. He's finally going to step aside and let some new leftists in. In the grand scheme, it's not going to make much of a difference, but he was a terrible congressman. He is a terrible human being. And there's going to be a fresh clown in the seat. And after three decades of power, the only lasting legacy he left behind was on that podium. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm going to have to repent for that, but wow. I said that there was something I wanted to show you with regard to our the government and our rights, and they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying it out loud. And this was just the other day. Yeah, this was just the other day. And Senator Tim Kaine said this. There it is. There it is. I don't know if he was supposed to say that, but he did. They believe that our rights come from them. They don't believe that we were endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. No, they don't believe that. I'd be surprised if, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them never even read it, quite frankly. So yeah, the next time they get into power, if the left is in this iteration that they're in right now, they will absolutely. Well, they've been trying to take our Second Amendment rights away. They will absolutely move to take away pretty much every other right that we have, that we enjoy. All right. I'm going to get you out of here on a even lighter note than Jerry Nadler's legacy. And President Trump let this reporter absolutely have it. And it was awesome. It was awesome to watch. And listen to this, because this was amazing.
You've expressed many times your frustration and disappointment with Putin But there's no action since you took your office.
How do you know there's no? How do you know there's no action?
Here we
Oh,
go.
really? Wait. Who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with the Polish media.
Okay. How do you know there's no action? Would you say that putting secondary sanctions on India, the largest purchaser outside of China, they're almost equal? Would you say there was no action? That cost hundreds of billions of dollars to Russia. You call that no action? And I haven't done phase 2 yet or phase 3. But when you say there's no action, I think you ought to get yourself a new job, because if you remember 2 weeks ago, I said, if India buys, India's got big problems, and that's what happened. So don't tell me about that.
He said, get yourself a new job. Oh, vintage Trump. Vintage Trump. I love it. That was amazing. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you this time. I will try to do better the next one. I always try to make each episode better than the last. If any of what I said hit home for you, please take a second to like and subscribe and share it with everyone that you know. I'm not just here to yammer in the microphone for 90 minutes. We're here to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and carry the banner of faith, freedom, and hope for future generations. And if you want some cool gear, head over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all the great designs that we have over there about bold faith, true grit, and unapologetic patriotism. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.